interested to know that how your brain is literally designed uniquely than the other, and what is your unique talent, how your brain is working and functional, and how actually the things, like stress, depression, if you go through the stress, how actually it affects your brain, and not only the brain, the other parts of your body. So are you interested to know that?
Well, Peter from Nigeria says yes. Jasneem from the UK is saying yes, please. Shireen is messaging me privately from South Africa. Yes, please. Yeah, lots of South Africans on the call. So you'd be proud to know that a guy named Andre Vermeulen, it's gone very famous now, Andre Vermeulen, for designing the brain profiling and this brain agility. And it's if you Google about him, you'll see he's got lots and lots of satellite centers around the world and lots of consultants. And it's really quite amazing. I actually did the brain agility test with Kanwal last week, and it was very, very informative and insightful. So you in South Africa or anywhere else in the world, you should be able to find a brain agility coach working with Andre Vermeulen's brain agility design.
Great. And also, like as I said, for me, I have been trained by him as well. And our company here in Mind Village Institute, we are the corporate partner from Dr. Andre. So, like we are only in UAE, we are the only corporate partner, and we are in partnership with this business as well. So, if like you want to go further to do the report and find the NeuroAgility, you can come to us as well. So you can get a good price rather than going directly there, because we are the corporate partner. Okay, starting from because we are talking about neuroagility, your brain flexibility. What is neuroagility? So let us debrief the neuroagility part. Well, when we talk about neuroagility, I hope you can see the screen, right?
Uh,
Neuroagility is simply your brain's ability, right? Your brain's ability to learn quickly and easily, to think and learn and draw conclusion fast, to be flexible in moving across ideas, to understand in such a way that you're, whatever, even if you are stressful condition, but whatever the information you are supposed to take, and you utilize those information, it is an optimum level. This is, we call it neuroagility. Like how quickly and how you fast you can learn, because sometimes people complain that, it's not, I cannot learn quickly, I cannot learn fast, it take me time to learn fast. Or even the conclusion, some people also complain that, for me to decide things quickly is not easy, like I'm stuck in decision making. It's your brain ability to decide quickly or not quickly, or to make conclusions of whatever you are studying or whatever you are doing. And also to be flexible in moving across ideas, which simply means, because sometimes our ideas should be on the big picture idea, sometimes our idea should be on detail. So some, depending upon your brain and arrangement, we will go through it. Your how easily you can move across ideas, this is also depend on your neuro agility, like means your brain's ability to move across the idea. And also again, for applying in the stressful situation, how easy you are able to cope up with the stress, and even doing your best and do give your best even in stressful situation. It depends also in your neuro agility. And also, we know that we take information inside our brain through our senses, through our five senses. When we talk about neuroagility, neuroagility is also about readiness of all senses and brain region to function as one unit. So when we take information in, and we connect with our brain inside. Okay, so if you are neuro agile person, if you are neuro flexible, and your brain abilities on a top level, then what you can do, it your brain and your five senses are work in as one unit. So whatever the exact information outside you find it, it goes inside and it give the brain, it open the all areas, it link up the all areas where it needed to be. Okay, so it's readiness of all your senses together with your brain. This is what neuroagility as well. Also, the people who are very high neuroagile, having high neuroagility, they have flexibility to learn new skills, to learn new attitude, to learn new behavior fast, and also unlearn the old pattern, old behavior. When we talk about the behaviors, we know that it's not that easy to change the behavior, right? It's like literally hard work to change the behavior. But if you are a neuroagile person, it will be very easy for you to change any behavior, to unlearn any behavior and learn new behaviors quickly, to be flexible in learning new skills. So it will be easy, no matter, like, people are sometimes they link their learning skills with the age. oh, now I'm aged like 40 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus, so it's not easy for me to memorize, it's not easy for me to learn new things. But if you are neuroagile person, doesn't matter your age, what age you are in, you can easily learn. You have, because your brain has capacity to adjust all those areas. Okay, this is what neuroagility, in a very simple manner, what is neuroagility, like more, not more scientific. But if you want to learn fast, if you want to, unlearn old behavior and learn quickly new behavior, if you want to improve your attitude, even also your stress coping mechanism, then it's better to go for, to look at the how you can be neuroagile. We will go for like when we talk about neuroagility, let us start something that is framework of neuroagility. Neuroagility, again, in common term, it's your brain flexibility. Okay, when we talk about neuroagility, the neuroagility framework is based on two things. Number, or we can say two legs. Number one is your neurological design, and number two is brain optimizing drivers. So when we talk about neurological design, it's your natural design, like how your brain is designed naturally. Okay, it's for everyone. When we born, we grow up, our brain is like, growing up, and it's naturally designed in certain way, which is also a part of your neuroagility. Okay, and the thing to improve that, you remember we talked about in the start that you cannot improve what you cannot measure. So let's take neurological design as a measuring part, and brain optimizing drivers are the nurturing part, okay, or improvement part. So
Kanwal, can I just
when you
interrupt?
combine these two.
Kanwal, can I just
Yes.
interrupt you? Is your slide sharing because the screen hasn't changed since you started?
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm sharing the slide.
So
Wait.
we're just seeing the slide
Okay,
with
let me
the
share it
brain on
again.
it. So just maybe reshare.
Yeah, let me share it.
I did send a message in the chat, but I
Thank
think
you,
you didn't
time,
see
because I
it.
thought it's showing.
No, no,
Uh,
it's
so
not sharing it. Let's restart.
oh, really?
Yeah, so
Okay. Is it sharing now?
yeah, we're seeing what we saw was on your screen, slide 12. That was all that we've seen so far. But we've understood what you explained. So I think where you're moving on onto the brain optimization start at that slide.
Yeah, this now you can see this one.
Yeah.
Okay, this is all what we talk about, that readiness of all the senses. This is what neuroagility is, when your all senses are ready and work as a one integrated unit. This is also part of the neuroagility. And what I explained in the previous slide, this one, that people who are very highly neuroagile, they have the flexibility to learn new skills and attitude and behavior fast and easily, and unlearn old behavior very quickly. Okay, again, when we talk about framework, can you see the slide again? I keep changing the slide, so
No,
it's
it's not.
somewhere
It
stuck. Just
hasn't
let.
changed. It's stuck on the same one. You just slide 13.
Oh,
Would you like me to
why like that?
change it? But then I don't have your PowerPoint.
Uh,
Okay. Maybe you'll
uh,
just have to reshare every time you need to reslide. Something seems to be technically a problem with your sharing.
um, okay, so just give me a second. Let me
Not
just
a problem.
reopen this. Let me reopen the presentation.
I like
So
what you said
sometimes it
about
happens.
how being neuroagile allows a person to unlearn what they've previously learned. And I think that's very, very important in today's world because as technology is advancing, we're learning so many things that kind of contradicts what we've learned before. From the audience, has anybody come across something like that where you had to learn something and it was like, but that doesn't make sense with what I learned before? It kind of contradicts. Have you had an experience like that, anybody? If you can just share, you may unmute while Kanwal's getting her screen sorted. Lots of times as well, not only just in content, there's a lot of times we are used to a certain way of thinking, a certain pattern of thinking, a certain default mechanism that triggers you to behave or react a certain way. And yeah, it seems to be working now because now your text is coming up as well.
Okay, good. So I just close it and reopen it again.
Reopened it.
Okay, so what we discussed from the first thing, the first definition of neuroagility is your brain's ability to learn quickly and easily, to draw conclusion fast, and to be flexible in moving across ideas and understanding in a way whatever you are learning that you can utilize even in the stressful situation. You can get the real value no matter if you are stressed or not stressed. If you are neuroagile person, even on the stressful situation, you can perform at an optimal level. Okay, the second definition that I talk about neuroagility, just moving for backward, those who are visual, so it will be very good for them to see that. The second definition that we talk about neuroagility is about readiness of all the senses. Your five senses are working as a one unit with your brain. So all the information that you take from five senses and it goes to the right place on the brain, and it to trigger the right area when senses and the brain are working as one integrated unit. To optimize, we know we will discuss about biochemical impulses and the how our brain function in the impulses way. The third definition that we talk about, the people who are highly neuroagile, as Atiyya just spoke about it, the people who are very much flexible and neuroagile, they can easily learn new skills, they can easily learn new attitude. Sometimes we understand that our attitude is not good, we need to improve the attitude, but it's because it's autopilot, it's not easy to change the attitude. But if you are a neuroagile person, then you can easily change your attitude. You learn new skills, you learn new behavior fast, unlearn old behavior, unlearn old pattern of the thinking as well, very quickly, because you are neuroagile person. So this is talking about neuroagile, and we are talking about framework of neuroagility. So as I said in the first, that you cannot improve what you cannot measure. Okay, so in order to improve, in order to measure, improve something, you need to measure at where you are. So neuroagility itself, if you want to be a neuroagile person, like brain flexible person, first you need to know how your brain right now is wired. Okay, so you should be able to measure your brain, and then you can optimize your brain performance. Okay, so that's why in frame of neuroagility, it works, it actually stand on two legs. Number one, neurological design, which is your natural wiring of the brain. Okay, and number two, brain optimizing drivers, which how you can nurture that part, how you can improve, so that your neuroagility as a whole will improve. Okay, so we will first we will take neurological design, that what are those areas which are naturally wired. Okay, we look at this very fast, and then we can talk about the optimizing drivers, that how you can improve it. Okay, again, before going to there, like we are the sum total of nature and nurture. When we are talking about sum total of nature and nurture, which means that if you want to plant a seed of let's say a corn seed. Okay, the nature of the seed is that it is corn seed, it cannot be any other seed, right? It cannot be a seed of any other fruit or any other plant. It is a corn seed. This is a nature part. Okay, that's the corn seed. But in order for this corn seed to grow as a big fulfilled and big plant, it has to nurture, right? So in order for a corn seed to grow as a big plant or is a nice plant, there are two parts: the nature of the plant, and so that you can know the nature, this is corn seed, and to nurture it in a way that corn seeds require. Okay, so in the same way, as a human being, we are sum total of two things: nature, which is our natural brain design, and nurture, so that we can provide some what kind of improvement we can provide, so that you can utilize our brain in an optimal level. So what we are going to discuss, the nature part. The nature part is what seven neurophysiological components. So just this neurophysiological component is a scientific term, but I will make it more easier. It's your seven neuro design, it's your seven inside wiring of the brain. Okay, we will go one by one of what are those nature part that we all are wired naturally. So we are born with this way, we our brain develop with this way. But this is the way, and we will go through how it is different with each person, and then we will come across how you can nurture to become the fully neuroagile person, optimum brain performance way. Okay, before going to the seven neurological physiological design, I want to give you one important fact, which I think most of you already know, that how our brain work. Okay, when we talk about the brain, it's some one fact that I will just, because we can discuss this in the coming slides. Our brain work in that way. You know that we have two sides of the brain. If you take the brain, there are two parts of the brain: right side and the left side. Okay, the function of our brain is something like that. Our right side of the brain control our left side of the body. Okay, and our left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. That means that, for example, if you don't you I think you notice some people who got paralyzed on the left side of their body. When they go to the doctor in the hospital, they check, their right side of the brain, that where the blockage is, where there is blood clot, where there is blockage, because the left side of the body is affected. In the same way, if right side of the body is affected, then there is some blockage or some stroke happened on the left side of the brain. So again, right, let us discover this fact and make it a fact, so that we can use that fact in our coming slides. Our right side of the brain control left side of the body, and left side of the brain control right side of the body, right? Now let's see what are how it is like. Okay, I already explained this, so I think I can move to next slide. Okay, can I ask you something? Do you know what is neuroplasticity? Have you heard about the term neuroplasticity? Maybe in the chat you can type if you have heard it before or not. Okay, so let's see what is basically neuroplasticity. Okay, just for you, a simple definition of neuroplasticity. Maybe you have some idea about neuroplasticity, but let us see in terms of brain and our connections what is neuroplasticity. I am sharing you one video which explain what is neuroplasticity. Let me know if you can hear. Yeah.
You can hear it loud and clear.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well travelled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep travelling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
So this is what this is what neuroplasticity is. Okay, that your brains again, and depending upon how fast you can the old pathway, how fast you can narrow down, and how fast you can broaden up the new pathway, the new habits. It also determines that how neuroagile you are. So neuroplasticity simply means that you can easily unlearn old pattern, old habits, and whatever you want to change, you can easily change it. That's how neuroplasticity in the brain it works. Okay, so again, why I spoke with we talk about neuroplasticity, because this is what, if you are neuroagile person, then your brain can change very fast, your brain can adapt very fast. Okay, so let's go about the 7 neurophysiological components or design, like get 7 brain design, which is exactly like that when you born till now, and you learn how your brain is developed. There are 7 things that you just fixed on you. Okay, but you can improve it. You cannot change it to the other one, but you can improve it. Okay, so we will go one by one, what are those things. Okay, let's see the first one we call relative lateral dominance. Don't focus more on the term. It's called relative lateral ramming. So what does mean? We have two parts of the brain: right side of the brain and the left side of the brain. We call it right hemisphere and left hemisphere. Okay, these two we use both sides of the brain. We use both sides of the brain. It is not possible for a human being to use only one side. Okay, we do use both sides, but one side is preferable. Okay, like for example, your hands, you use both of your hands, but one hand is dominant than the other, and most of the time we prefer to do things from our dominant hand. In the same way, we use both sides of the brain, but one side is dominant. Either it's right side or the left side, but depending upon which dominant preference you have, you perform certain actions, you perform certain tasks based on your dominance and your, you can say, your characteristics, or how you perform, how you function, how you work, depending upon some of the dominance. That does not mean that you are not using the other side. Again, we are using both sides, but depending upon which is dominant, we are mostly easy to perform those actions. Our brain can easily do those actions depending upon the dominancy. So when we talk about the dominance, again, as I said, we have two types of the brain: left side of the brain and right side of the brain. Let me go through fast what are the major functions of left side and the right side. It's mainly but not only. Okay, so the left side of the hemisphere, left side of the brain are more logical side. So when we think logic, when we create reasons, think on the logical scientific side, it's mainly on your left side. Okay, you are doing this from your left side of the brain. So more electrochemical activity is happening on the left side when you are thinking logically, when you are thinking reasoning. Okay, and also your left side like details. So again, the people, like for example, the people who are left hemispheric dominant, their preference is left hemispheric dominant, they like to go into details. So if you are in the training and you are left hemispheric dominant person, okay, and if I will give you just, top small points of each and every slide, you will not be that much interested because you want to know the details. You learn by getting into details. Okay, if you are totally on the left side and not again not neuroagile person, if you are not neuroagile, then you mostly lie into left side. Sometimes we have to be big picture person, look on the conclusion side and make a big picture. Sometimes we have to go into the detail depending upon your neuroagility level. If your neuroagility is low, then most of the time you are stuck on the details. Even sometimes some with some projects, even sometimes arguments, they are, you are going to detail, not looking on the big picture. But sometimes if you are right hemisphere dominant, you only look on the big picture and don't go into detail. So for you, left side of the brain is more detail oriented, and if you are left hemispheric dominant person, then you like to go into details. It's your natural way. It's your natural way to go into details. Okay, it is more planning way. So left hemispheric people, they like plannings. They like, to organize, schedule everything, plans. Plus they like facts and figures. The left hemispheric dominant people, also they are very task oriented. They are very well structured. So, and also they are very well with the language, they are very well spoken. Because on left side of the brain we have language center. Okay, so if you are left hemispheric dominant, you can easily access the language center because you are dominant on the left side of the brain, because language center is on the left side of the brain. So those people who are left hemispheric dominant, they can very easily access the language. They are very well spoken in language. And the thing that they are thinking is mainly inside the box. They like to follow the rules, regulations, step procedures. So that's why they follow the instructions. They don't think out of the box mostly. They like to think, they like to work inside the box. Their thinking style is mainly inside the box because they are following the rules and regulation and structure way. Okay, they are more theoretical as they are detail oriented. So they like to learn through theories, through explanations, more theoretical way. Okay, and they are very systematic. So this is some characteristic. This is some, not like it's mainly but not only. There are many other things that left hemispheric dominant people are doing, but this is on the nutshell. These are the left hemispheric dominant person main characteristics. Okay, let's see right hemispheric person. Right hemispheric person is more creative. So you can see left hemisphere, it's more logical, facts oriented. Right hemisphere is more creative. Okay, and they are more holistic. Holistic means they don't like to go into details. They like to be a big picture. Okay, give me a big picture, the more holistic version. I don't want to go into detail. Okay, they are more emotional, because left hemisphere will be access logics from left hemisphere, but right hemisphere is an emotional center. So our emotional center resides on the side of right hemisphere. So these right hemispheric dominant person, they are more emotional, they are more impulsive. They have this inner impulse, like, I feel like, you can intuition kind of thing. So they are more intuitive. They are very spontaneous. They are people oriented. Okay, they think in pictures. So left hemispheric people, I said language center is on the left hemisphere. Okay, left side of the brain. So that's why they are more language oriented. They think and they use words, they use language very easily. Right side hemispheric person, they are more picture oriented, means they think in pictures. So when they are thinking, they are creating pictures in their head. Okay, their thinking is mainly outside of the box. So if you are giving some rules and regulations and principles and SOPs for the right hemispheric person, it's not that easy if they are literally on the right side. And what does it mean? I will talk to you about it. If they are literally not, or you can say not flexible, that it's not easy for them to follow rules and regulations and follow the scripts or follow the SOPs, because their thinking is outside the box. Okay, what if we can do that? What if we will do that? So their what if is too much. So they are mainly thinking because they are creative, so they create new ways. They think outside of the box. They are very practical. So long detailed talks, sometimes they get bored, because they, okay, tell me how to do that. Okay, I got the theory, tell me how to do that. So they are more practical than the theoretical. They are multitask. As I said, left hemisphere person, they are more systematic. One by one, finish, take one thing, finish this, then the other thing, then the other, so step by step. Otherwise right hemispheric people, they are multitasker. They can do two three things, together. So if you what we do the assessment, in the NeuroAgility assessment, we have an assessment. Okay, as I said, that you have to measure about your NeuroAgility. In that assessment, this will tell you where either you are right hemispheric person or you are left hemispheric person. Okay, and they will give you this dashboard in the assessment, which tells you, if you see the dashboard, the needle there, either you are too much left or you are in the middle, or you are flexible in the balanced way, or you are too much right or balanced. Okay, the only thing, if I am left hemispheric person, I cannot be right hemispheric dominant. My dominancy will always be left hemisphere. It means when I start something, I start doing some project, I start thinking, even my thinking, my learning, my work will start from the left brain. And then depending upon how much neuro agile I am, it move faster to the right side. Okay, so you cannot, if you are right hemispheric person, you cannot be left hemispheric totally preference way. You will be right hemisphere, but you can improve to switch across the ideas. Remember, we talk about NeuroAgility to switch across the ideas. So let's say I am left hemispheric person, and I am, you see the needle on the purple side. Okay, this explains that this person is left hemispheric but very balanced. Sorry, very balanced. Very balanced means, if this needle is on the blue side, it means they are not neuroagile, they are not balanced. They are left hemispheric person, but they are very much not balanced, which means that if any project or anything they are doing, they most involve in details. It's not easy for them to go and look at the big picture. That's why if your needle is on the left side this way, you need more neuroagility to bring it on the balance side, so that you can access both sides. So but still you will start from the left side, but you can easily switch to the right side because you are near to the right side. Okay, so the assessment that we are talking about, we call NeuroAgility assessment. This will tell you where your left or right hemisphere needle is. If you are right hemisphere dominant, ideally you should be on the yellow shade. Okay, but if you are on the green shade, like this part, it means you are not balanced in your right. So mostly it's not easy for you to go into details. It's not easy for you to think logic, to follow the rules and regulations. It's not that easy, depending upon where your needle is.
There's a question
So
in the
this is
chat, Kanwal. Is it possible, Hadra asked a very excellent question. Is it possible to be dominant in both hemispheres?
no. it's like, again, I said, it's one, only one dominance, and you are you are naturally dominant in one thing. Okay, it is possible to access the other one as well, and the access the other one if based on how much neuroagile you are. So if you are a neuroagile person, you can still, let's say you are left hemispheric dominant, and you like to think, creative and big picture, although you are doing it, depending upon how much flexible you are, how much your needle is, where your needle is. Okay, you can improve it by nurturing, we talk about six brain drivers, like the nurture part, by nurturing your agility, but you cannot be dominant on both sides. Still, you will start with the same. If you are left hemisphere, still you start the project, you start learning, you start thinking from the left side, and then you switch depending upon what is required in your thinking. Let's say if you required big picture thinking, still you will go first way, you will go into details, and but you will switch fast to the big picture, because this is your natural way. So you
You,
cannot be dominant in two ways. You can is dominant in one way, but you can switch easily, depending upon how much neuro agile you are.
Dr.
Any
Umar's
other
got a
question you have?
question. Yeah, Dr. Umar's got a question. Is it safe to say that if the needle is on the yellows or the purples, that we are balanced?
Yes. So that's what the dashboard is all about. If your needle is on the purple side, it means you are very balanced. Okay, or yellow side. It cannot be straight, because you cannot be in the middle of both. Okay, either you are on the left little bit or on the right little bit, but as much as on your purple or yellow side, this shows you are very well balanced. Like say this picture, this person, if you see, you is very well balanced left hemispheric preference person. Okay, that means that still his thinking style, his learning style, his ideas starting from the left side, but he can easily switch on the right side, because of he is very balanced, because the needle has not to go too far to go to the right side. Right, any other question you have on that part?
No, nothing else. Think you can move on.
Okay. The next part of, we see left and right side of the brain. Now the next part is front and the back side of the brain. So we are just actually debriefing the brain. So the front side of the brain and the left side, back side of the brain. Why we are looking at that? Because you know that whatever information we are taking inside of the brain, it converts into electrochemical activity. So the info that you are looking at me right now, you are listening me, these all information are going inside from your ear, from your eyes. Okay, and maybe you are eating something, so the information of what food you are eating is going inside from your mouth. It all collect in your brain, and it converts into electrochemical activity. So all the information that you take first, you take it from the back side of the brain, this part of the brain. Okay, so they gather together and the back side of the brain. And then depending upon where is your high neuro, like because there are some chemicals, neurotransmitters in the brain, where the high level of neurotransmitters are there to convert electrical impulse into chemical impulse. Okay, I will not go more scientific. So either when you take information in, it all goes on the back side. Okay, now depending upon where the electrochemical activity is more in your brain, okay, it has to travel. If electrochemical activity in the brain is more on the front side of the brain, because we have electrochemical activity in the brain, throughout the brain. If your brain, your electrochemical activity is more on the front side of the brain, so this information will come from here on the back and it travels to the front. Okay, and that make you expressive person, that will make you expressive person. Okay, if the electrochemical activity is on the back side of the brain, the information comes in, it stays on the back, and that will make you receptive person. So when we talk about expressiveness and receptiveness, what does it mean? Expressive person are more language oriented, very much talkative, outspoken, asking questions. They can easily participate in the group. They learn by participation. The expressive people, right? If they understand something, they need to share that if I'm understanding right or not. They learn, they participate in the meetings, they participate in the presentations and stuff, and they are very well verbally communicated. Those who have electrochemical activity on the front side, so the information goes back and they come on the front, so they are very expressive. Okay, receptive learners are more absorbing learners. Some people, if you notice, some people, they just kept quiet, they don't ask questions, they just absorb. They are very receptive. Okay, and they are very reserved. The receptive people are very absorbing learners, they are very reserved, they think before act. Okay, they like to work alone. They don't like, to work with the group, or they, of course, if it is required, they have to do it, but they prefer, we are talking about preference, right? They prefer to work alone, and they are more individualistic. Okay, now again here, depending upon where your needle is, that shows how balanced you are, how your frontal lobe, we call it frontal, and sensory lobes are wired. So again, if you are too much on that side, your needle is here on the blue side, you are not balanced. Okay, you are very expressive. And let me tell you another thing. When we are stressed, because this neuroagility is specifically focused on how you perform during stress. Okay, when we are stressed, what happened, our non-dominant side is having some neurological hindrance, or in simple word, having some blockages. Okay, when we are stressed. So let's say if you are left hemispheric dominant person, when you are stressed, your right hemisphere have some neurological hindrance, have some blockages. So the stress hormone affects the non-dominant part of you, non-dominant brain side of you during stress. In the same way, if you are is expressive person, okay, so this is your dominant, this is your preference, your brain take things, and you prefer to learn by expressions. If you are expressive person and you are stressed, the receptive part is blocked, not totally blocked, but majorly blocked, which is your non-dominant part.
So Kanwal, if I can
Are you
use
getting that?
somebody, if I can use somebody on the audience as an example, Aslam Noor, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to speak about you. I'm assuming that Aslam, being an internationally acclaimed artist, is on the very much creative and expressive side. I mean, from my conversations with him, he's a holistic thinker. He's very artistic. I mean, his art was on the Burj Khalifa for the entire of Ramadan for a couple of years. So I would assume that he's right brain dominant, being the artsy, creative, holistic thinker. So are you saying that if Aslam is in a stressful state or situation in his life, the things that the left brain would do are the things that get hindered? So that means he would be
Yes,
less able to focus on details. He would be less able to logically handle information or make decisions when he's stressed.
that's right. So if
Aslam,
he is
Aslam, now
right,
we're gonna hear it from you. Aslam, how do you feel about that? Have you seen that experience in your life?
Um, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Atiyya and Kamal. Wonderful pieces of information that you're sharing with us. And I have studied quite a lot on this subject for almost about last 15 years. And I have a couple of observations to make. If it interests the group, I would. One of them being that we have the six senses, not five senses.
yes. So the
A
sixth
very
one is,
important part of information comes to us from unknown sources, which do not come from the back of your mind, which come from somewhere high above, which we call inspiration or intuition, or that is usually not covered by the medical sciences and does not create neural pathways and does not, you know, create the neuroplasticity as you call it, because it comes as just-in-time inventory, as they say. It's like when you're under hugely provocative situation, you get this burst of inspiration which totally was not present anywhere, and it kind of come and shows you the way, and you say, where does this knowledge come from? And so that's a very important area which I have personally tried to explore, which is where does the information which does not exist in the brain in a logical way or in the right hemisphere in a creative context, where does it come from? The spiritual context. So
yeah,
that is
that's
one
what
thing
we,
that
like, especially, sorry, if you are right hemispheric dominant person, you have high level of intuition, because you
see
trust your
that is,
intuition.
well, this
And
is
also,
how
this is another
science
sense,
tends to
but
explain it.
science cannot, yeah,
Science
science
tends to
don't.
explain, but one thing which is very clear, which I know, I mean, it's a conclusive fact, that brain is the least understood organ of human beings.
So
Yeah,
true.
so
We do not understand the workings of brains. We have tried to give some terminology to a lot of processes which go on, but we do not really understand the brain fully.
When
That's
you
why we are
refer,
not being able to still create learning talents and certain kind of abilities on demand. We can't do it.
yes, on demand,
yeah,
huh? MZ
yeah.
in the group chat is responding to your, especially the terminology. He's talking about, I think what you're referring to, as most people commonly know it as the third eye, and medical science also talks about the pineal gland.
Movement, yes, exactly. So now
Yeah.
the science is also reaching to that part, but here what we are sticking on mainly on the five senses and how you can improve your daily activities and improve your way of working. But of course, pineal gland. If you search about pineal gland, they are going all those part in the third eye and intuition part, and how you can if your pineal gland is open, then how what wonders you can do with your pineal. So this is all about, like, now science is proving everything, because me also science together with all those things, I'm also interested in that part, and
I think
I
that's
am
an
doing this.
advanced level though of
Yeah,
neuroagility. Let's stick on the basic level for today. We can go to the
yeah,
advanced level.
yeah, exactly.
But
So this
Aslam,
is
you didn't
another
answer the question
Because
I asked you, Aslam. I asked you, when you are under
yes,
severe
yes,
stress, do you find that your right
yeah.
side of the hemisphere, those abilities are a little bit on the downside?
Well, talking
on the left
personally,
side hemisphere.
I think,
If he's
I
right
mean, do you want
hemisphere.
me to give you a personal answer or a general answer?
Personal, personal. Have you found that when you, I mean, being a
Personal
very
answer.
creative person, when you're under severe stress, and not on those epiphany moments where you may have get that burst of intuition, the just in time, intuition, but do you find that you are less able to maybe remember lists or focus on the details because you may be upset?
See, in my case, I have a I would sort of say a very trained brain to
Okay, so
handle
maybe
stress
inshallah you are,
and to handle provocation.
I am listening as that he has
yes,
high
yes.
level of neuroagility. He is very much flexible.
Like,
That's what
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So he's already on a very
yeah,
neuro-agile level. As he said, he's studying this for the last 15 years. MashaAllah, Aslam. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So even again, that's what the purpose of neuroagility. If you are neuroagile, then even on the stressful situation, remember second definition, even on the stressful situation, you can perform all optimum level. So that's how, if you are neuroagile. But again, for you to know that if you are neuroagile or not, you have to, measure those things. That how much you are neuroagile, what percentage. Ideally, should be 80 to 90% neuroagile person. Okay. So thank you so much,
see,
Atiyah.
it's personally, I think it's a learned behavior. The left brain and right brain functions are interconnected. They are not independent of one another. One of
Yeah, yeah.
the very crazy loops that I got into when I started studying the subject formally was that if you are creative, you are right brain totally, and if you are logical, you are left brain totally. But
No,
Initially,
no, no.
yeah,
really,
people
what
thought that
really
initially,
happens is
yes.
that you develop both sides of the brain. You maybe use one more than the other, and then it's like being a right-handed, or like you can be ambidextrous. Ambidextrous is you can use work with your right hand and left hand, like Leonardo da Vinci did. Okay, which really meant that you could train either the left brain to function like right brain and right brain to function like left brain.
Yeah,
That is the most amazing thing about the brain. It's all about uh, creating
adaptation.
new neural pathways. For instance,
Exactly.
you can use like Einstein was a mathematician. He used to be, you could call him that he was a left brain dominant person. Okay, because all maths and all sequences and numbers lies in left brain. But he used his mathematics so creatively that he could create a lot of stuff. I mean, that's what he sort of said. He said the most beautiful thing in the world is what is mysterious, what
Yeah,
cannot be
and that's
understood by
actually
logic and
what
facts.
this is what we're gonna discuss. So if you are right brain hemispheric dominant person, that does not mean that you are not logical. So that's seven components that we are going to discuss. You will find even people are right brain. Why they are logical? Because we will go inside of the brain, and then we'll find there is logical center and there is intuition or emotional center. So maybe you are right hemispheric dominant, a dominant person, like you develop as a
Yeah.
right hemisphere dominant. But again, inside of the brain, there is another portion that determine the logic and reasons. If you have more electrochemical activity on that side, then still you are right side plus you are logical as well. So that will come as well in the coming slide. That's why we are discussing 7 neurophysiological components. And I used to talk about Einstein. He looks like left hemispheric dominant person, but he was very intelligent in creative things, right? Because he was having creative intelligence, which also we will one part of the neurophysiological design is your intelligence. So even if you are that side of the, but if you have intelligence of the other side, you can still access the best way. So that's how beautifully even this profile is arranged for telling you this all those answers, that okay, right, okay, I am right brain dominant, but I am thinking logically as well. People are telling me you are a very logical person, but how can, it's not, as I said in the first, it's not only, but mainly is like that. So if you are right hemisphere dominant, you are mainly creative, but not only. That does not mean you don't use the other side. Why this profile is mainly thing, that during stressful situation, if you are not neuroagile, and it's a science, during stressful situation, the non-dominant part of your brain will having the hindrance, and that will affect the other part, that you cannot easily accessible. So this is the main idea here about the stressful situation, because normally we use both sides in the normal situation, but if we are stressed, we need to look at where there is blockage. So how I am performing during a stressful situation, and that's how the whole profile actually explain about the
See,
stress
well,
and
I think I have a little observation to make on the subject. I mean, when you're using the word like stress, see, stress depends from person to person. Stress can be provocation. For instance, if I am faced with a challenge which I do not know how to handle, I can go into a mode of stress, but that stress can actually translate into me provoking my brain into creating a solution to it for to get out of the situation.
And that I
You
think
understand
would
what I mean?
happen
I mean,
only
say for
for
instance,
an
there is one
agile
stress.
person, Aslam. This is what she's speaking about for people who are not neuroagile. Their brain
yes,
does not elicit creative thinking or solution driven or seeing a bigger picture or calming. They go, think about some people who get into road rage. Okay, that is totally not
Yeah, yeah.
conducive to anything. It's almost as if they shut down on normal behavior.
multiple parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So um,
No,
I
it's
love what
because of Atiyah. One of the things which I think most people, 99% of the people, have all the abilities which they need to develop.
yes,
That's the
that's
good news.
that's a good
Because
news.
it's not that's what exactly the concept of neuroplasticity is. What I'm trying to say is creativity is not something which is
Just one
unique
place.
to only a few people on the planet. It's
No,
with
it's
everybody. It
everybody
depends upon
having.
it's exactly whatever you develop sort of gets stronger.
Yes, mashallah.
And the same thing about is about the left brain and the right brain. There was this myth about the creative people being very right brain. It really means abstraction. That means they can work with the right brain well. But at the same time, if they do not sequence what I do first and what I do second and what I do third, then they will not be able to actually translate those ideas into
So
into
true.
reality.
So true.
Yeah, and
Cognitive
You
that's the
understand?
main
dissonance.
So
concept
what
here.
I mean is,
I think
I
that is
want
the
to
main
move
concept, that
to
we
hmm?
use both sides. We use both sides, but we prefer. So it's a preference. Like we prefer to use one side because it's our natural, you can say natural brain design, that we develop our brain. When we developing the brain, it develop in a way that we prefer to be creative. We prefer to be thinking that way. We
yes.
prefer to think out of the box. But if we are like, our brain is on the optimum level, we develop it very well, we can easily switch across the ideas. And that's what the main concept of neuroagility, that you
And
need
while I
big
just want
picture.
to, I want to pose another question, this being mindful of the other participants as well and time. Marilla wants to know, please explain cerebral dissonance, if possible, or would you like to get to it later? Cerebral dissonance between the two hemispheres. Would you prefer to move it towards
I
later or
think
move on at this
we
point?
can go to, yeah, we can go to that later on. So maybe because we have to cover this, and then based on the question we can go through that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hmm.
So this is actually what, if you are mainly expressive person during stressful situation, like notice, like, this is again talking about the brain ability to be neuroagile, to be flexible. If you are flexible, you can even during stressful situation. I'm not talking about the stress that you are putting on the performing work, literally stressful situation, like when you are negatively charged, when you have more negative neurotransmitter running in your on your body. That's a stressful situation that block the non-dominant part of the brain. And when it block the non-dominant part, you have only access the your dominant part. Okay, because some, you notice the people who are very expressive, if they are stressed, they cannot stop, they have to express whatever the emotions they are charged with. They have to express each and everything. But again, it's not healthy. Like either you sometimes you have to express, and sometimes you have to absorb as well. You don't have to express things. You have to sometimes be receptive. So being, and even for the receptive people, those who are totally go on the shutdown mode when they are stressed, you notice the people, they literally shut down if they are stressed. Even they have to talk about something, they need to talk about something, but they shut down. So that's how, because they are receptive dominant, and dominant means they prefer, and the expressive part is blocked. So that's why they cannot, even they want to, they cannot, they shut down. So that's why, if they are neuroagile, they are balanced, they can easily access the expressive center as well. This is actually the expressive, and this is also the upcoming, the next third one is very very interesting as well. So now we see the brain from left right side, front back side. Now we are looking on the four sides of the brain, like we call it four quadrants. So imagine the brain in divided into four parts, like half, and then this way. Okay, so there are four quadrants of the brain. Okay, and each quadrant is good at performing certain action. Again, depending upon the more electrochemical activity of your brain, which side is it, your brain is designed to work in that way very well. Let me give you example again how it is working. If you see the front, if you take the sorry, if you take the brain, the front side and left side of the front, if you have, like when you start thinking an idea and you have more electrochemical activity here first, then here, then here, then here, so your brain, your idea is moving across these four quadrants. Your thinking style is moving in these four quadrants, but arranged differently for each person. Okay, so for example, let's say for me, if I start thinking, my first idea comes from the front side of the brain, which is analyst, which is like basically the function of the first front side is analyzation. And I start with anything. If I'm analyst, like it's more electrochemical activity first here, I start analyzing things first. Okay, so my first job is left side front of the brain, which is analyst. Okay, so whenever I think about any idea, I work on any project, I start by analyzing. Okay, and then depend upon where is more higher activity. Let's say after analyst, I have back side of the brain, so the more activity. So after analyzing, I go to the back left, which is doer. So after analyze the situation, I go and perform action. Okay, and then maybe it comes to the back on the right side, which is more counselor. And after performing action, I said, okay, I have to counsel with the people, I have to talk to the people, I have to involve people. So this is my brain design. So I analyze the situation first, and then I take an action, and after taking action, I will involve people. And then I can also think about people. And then I can come to the front side. After thinking about the people, I strategize my idea. So this is, let's say, my way. Okay, but each and every person have different design. If you can start from the right side front, which is strategist, so any idea or anything, any project is coming, you first strategize. Okay, maybe after strategizing, you go to analyst part, and then you analyze the situation, and then you go for action, and then then later on you counsel with the people. So if you see, there is strategist, analyst, doer, and counselor, they have different job to perform. We are using all four, but differently wired. That means if you are working, let's say, if your job is, if your first preference is analyst, okay, like you analyze the situation. If you do a job of accountant, or any situation where there is research and analyzation, your brain will perform naturally. But let's say you are analyst, and your job is sales job, which is a doer job. Okay, your brain will ultimately feel tired in doing things first. It has to go to analyze situation first, then strategize, then counseling. Let's say if this is the design, if you go and do the sales job are mainly task oriented, do go and do things, and then we will see what it does. So your brain will feel tired and it will not be performed naturally. So if you know your brain design, what I am first, what, like say, when you do the profile, the assessment that I'm talking about, you will come to know that what are your first preference, like your natural idea or your natural design, how it is arranged in your brain, your natural design of thinking and learning and doing anything. So let's say this person, this profile is, his profile is saying that he's analyst. So first he analyzed the situation, okay, and then he moved towards strategizing it, okay, and after that he go and perform the action. 23% is the doer. So after and first analyze, then strategize, and then they do, okay, and after doing things, then they think about the other people, or they communicate with the people. Now with this type of profile, the best job for that person is the doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountant, and scientist. What doctors are doing first? So you are going to a doctor, they first analyze your situation. Okay, what is the problem, tell me what. So they analyze you, and then they strategize the prescription. So the naturally brain design, they analyze good fast, then they strategize, and then they give you to do action. Go and take this medicine, or you have to do this, take action part. They will tell you the action part after strategizing the prescription. And let's say you come back and you say, it's not working, and the situation is still there, then they counsel, then they ask to the other doctors their point of view. So this type of profile is fitting on these criteria. Depending upon how your brain is wired, if you do that kind of job, that first, second, third, it's working with this brain design, then your brain will be easy to perform at an optimum level. So that's why also it's important, like to check which area of the brain you are wired, how you are. For example, for me, I am analyst and then strategist, okay, and I have very less part of doing any counseling, although I am having a counseling work. But that is something, again, next slide, which is I have some intelligence on the interpersonal side, which help me in counseling. Okay, but for me, if I become the CEO or the manager, or the big director of some company, because for me, analyst and strategist is the highest level. I can analyze the situation, I can strategize things very well, and then I will. And for me, like say, like in my company, I prefer to take people in with myself who are more doer and counselor, because analyst and strategist, I'm very good at. So I have to complete all those four sections. So I take, like I have people there with me. They are more. I let them do first profile, so they are more doer. So I analyze the situation, I strategize, and I give them, okay, go ahead and do. So I can easily work and I can be motivated. My brain is not tired, so I am working as per my brain design. So for me, let's say I am analyst 50% and 50% strategist, and this can be the case sometime. For me, it's the case. So doer and counter is 0%. Okay. Now it means I am very strong in analyzing and strategizing the stuff. It's a very strong preference. Okay. But that means that when I have to make sure in my team, the people who are working with me, they are more stronger in doer and counseling part, and that can complete my full portfolio, so that they can do and perform actions what I can analyze and strategize.
This
And
is
this is
very,
something very.
very important for leaders to know this. I would assume, and well, not assume. I mean, it's so obvious. If you're a leader of a team, or a manager, or
Yes.
a CEO, I mean, this is such. Actually, everything you've said thus far has got such real world implications and applications. Whether you're in sales, whether you're in a team in creativity and innovation, whether you're in design, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a coach, there's so
Yeah,
much
even in the
that
corporate
this
world, if I
information is
want to
required.
hire HR person, I will look at who is more counselor, because HR is more people oriented people, right? So
Yeah,
I should hire the person who are. If I hire analyst, what the HR will do? Analyze the people. Like they will just spend more time in analyzing and strategizing. But for me to hire an HR person, he should be more counselor. For me to hire a salesperson, he should be more doer. Okay, his natural starting point is doing.
yeah,
Okay, just go ahead and do, and then perform action and sell. If I want to hire some admin for someone admin work, and the administration work and accountant, I have to make sure that they are analysts, because admin job required analyzation, accounts job required analyzation. That will help them, even help me as well as a company owner. For example, that okay, I have people that their brain work right on what they are doing. So they will not feel much tired. They can easily give optimum level. So this is something also you will come to know about your profile if you do the assessment, that what is your natural design of the brain, from where you like to start. And it's not only the work part, your thinking. So your thinking also start in the same way. If you are thinking something, you first analyze the situation, then you move on to, okay, how can I do that, strategizing. Or if, let's say, if you are doer, and you purchase something from IKEA, okay, and you bring it, now you are doer, your natural design is do. You will not go to the manual and read about the manual, how, this booklet, how to arrange all those things. You just do open all those things and start performing. And then let's say, okay, it's not working, then you go to analyze the situation. Or then
Oh,
if you're a counselor,
I
you
know a lot of people like that. The last thing they look at when they're doing a DIY project is the manual. They just get into it,
yes,
and then something
yes,
goes wrong sometimes. Oh, I should have looked at that manual.
exactly.
This
And
is also
sometimes you
very
find even
important
if
for
you're
career
analyst,
choices. I suppose this is also very important for career choices for people who are going into their career
yes, yes,
path
for
at
students,
universities and
for,
stuff
yes,
like this. I
yes,
have a question,
even for
Kanwal.
the students. Yeah.
I have a question. These quadrants or the preferences in these quadrants, can that be changed? Or is this your natural design? Can this be developed? That if
It
I'm,
can be developed, yes. It can be developed, but actually still you will start thinking this way, but you can improve all other ways. Again, you are neuroagile person, and this is what we are discussing about. Neuroagile is developing, improving your scenarios, right? So you can easily switch across the ideas. Remember, we talk about definition. If you are neuroagile, you can easily switch. So whatever is required, or doing is required, let's go there. Or this, but still you will start analyzing, okay, now I have to do things. But this is something very beautiful. You can only do things once you know. So for example, I know naturally I'm left brain hemisphere dominant, and I know I can easily go into details. But sometimes it requires for me to go on the big picture. I know I'm expressive person, and I can easily go into express the things, right? But I know now I am expressive, and sometimes I have to be receptive. And of course it's a natural way, because if I'm stressed, if I'm going into stress, I will be naturally expressive. Even by knowing your natural design will help you to improve. And also, of course, there are drivers that you can improve,
I think
which they
participant
are,
was asking about the drivers, um, how to
we
optimize
will
and how to improve the agility. I think this is the key part that they want to focus on.
exactly. So again, to improve, you first need to know where you are at, right? Because let's say if somebody has to improve more on the one side, so which area they have to focus. We will go to next two slides, which are very interesting as well, to know about how it affects in which part of your brain and what part of your body is affecting by stress. Okay. The other one, then let's go. The fourth one is emotional and rational preferences. Here it comes what Noor was saying, that even if you are right brain, you can access the left logical side as well, depending upon here. Let's say now inside of the brain, if you see inside, now we are coming to the inside of the brain. Okay, so you see inside of the part of the brain, this part, you see this thing, this is called neocortex. Okay, or cerebral cortex, and also this part is limbic brain. Okay, if we have more electrochemical activity again on that part of the brain, okay, we are more logical, we are more rational, okay, reason oriented, because this neocortex is having more logical stuff, the data and information. This part is an emotional center, we call it limbic cortex or limbic brain. It's our limbic brain, it actually produces the emotions. So if you have more chemical activity on that part, okay, this is where you access the emotions. So now depending also, either you are we use both sides, again we use both sides, but one is preferred. That does not mean I'm not accessing other side, but only thing, again, if you are stressed, then only the other part is blocked. So let's say I'm emotional person, okay, and I can rationalize things easily also. I'm using both sides because I'm human being. My brain is designed to use both sides. But when I'm getting stressed and I'm not a neuroagile person, what will happen? This part is blocked. Okay, so I will only getting involved in emotions if I'm not neuroagile, because I'm only thinking emotionally. My emotions are coming up, and I'm emotional being. If you are a rational person, then your emotional is blocked. So when you are stressed, you only think logical, rational. That doesn't make sense, and you give reasons, but there is no emotion. Again, it's not right. Either you have to you can use both sides. So depending upon your needle as well, if you are balanced on the purple side or on the pink side, rather it doesn't matter you are emotional or rational, but you are balanced, you can easily access the other part depending on in stressful situation. You can easily move across the idea even in the stressful situation. But if you are like this, like say this person is more rational on the blue side, okay, if you are on the blue side during a stressful situation, you will be only focusing on rationalization or reasoning. There is no emotional involvement, but sometimes we do need emotional involvement as well, but you will block that area. So that's how it's important to know actually where you are standing to in order to further develop. Okay. The other thing is information processing style. So we all have different styles of information processing, and that affects also, you know, there are things that we have, again we talk about taking information in the normal five senses. In these five senses, there are three senses which are in pairs, okay, which are our hands. We take information, you know, we touch things, we have the feelings of that thing. If I touch the hot stuff, I feel the hot, you know, there is something hot, there is something cold. So I use hand also to take information in. I use my eyes to take information in. I use my ears to take information in. Okay, we are what we are considering here are the two parts where we are which are in pairs. So what happened? It looks like I am looking with my both eyes. I do look from my both eyes, but actually in my eyes as well, one eye is dominant and one eye is non-dominant. Means one eye is taking information, is leading, and the other eye is following. If you want to measure this, I want you to just do like this. You know,
Try this
just go
activity,
ahead and
guys.
make,
So you're gonna make a what,
yeah.
like a diamond shape. I would recommend that
So,
everybody tries it right now, so you know from which eye your brain leads. Which will
yeah.
give you a good quick
So
clue.
you do this, and I am holding something, and maybe if you can, if it is a little bit distance from you, just look at this, or maybe any other object which is little bit distant from you. Just do this and look whatever in front, any object, any pen, paper, glass, whatever. Make your hand like this and look from these two things, you know, from this circle, like this way, and look like from your both eyes first.
Okay.
Okay, and when you're looking from the any object, when you're looking from your both eyes, just close your left eye and notice if the object is still there or it's moved. Okay, then close your right eye and notice the object is there or moved.
So when I
So you
close
will
my,
notice.
so because Kanwal, if I
Mhm.
close my right eye, then the object is totally gone because I don't see it at all. So when I close my right eye, so what does that mean?
It means that you are right eye dominant. Your right eye is taking information first and your left eye is following.
Okay.
Okay, if you close your left eye, you can still see the object in the same place because your right eye is taking information first and the left eye has to follow. So this is also, although we use both eyes, right, we think that we see from our both, of course we use both eyes, but one eye is dominant in taking information and other eye is following. Okay, in the same way with our ears, one ear is taking information first and the other ear follow. And we know dominant hands, like we prefer to do things from the dominant hand, and also of course to support we use the other non-dominant hand as well. In the same way our eyes and our ears are we use the same way. Okay, the best part is that depending upon your eye dominancy, depending upon your ear dominancy, again we use both but one lead and other follow. It affects the during, if you are a stressful situation, again we are talking about a stressful situation and your brain dominancy, it can affect your area of performance with your hands, with your eyes, and with your ear, like information taking style. Oh, and these things we think that okay, so these are hands and they are just common function of hands that we are doing. Eyes, they are performing the common functions like seeing things, but actually they have some specific functions as well. My right eye have some specific function than the left eye. My right ear have some specific functions than the left ear. And that is, so we did not know, and I can link and you can make it, will make sense also. So let's see how it is arranged. So I will go it very fast because you know, we are just running behind the time, and I want, it is very interesting, so I want to share this. Your right hand are mainly good in fine motor activities. You know, if you want to write something precisely, if you want to do some delicate work which is fine motor activities, this is the job of your right hand. Okay, your right hand is very good in written and verbal communication. Let me tell you why. Because remember we talk about in the start that our left side of the brain control right side of the body, and right side of the brain control left side of the body. And we talk about our left side of the brain is more detail oriented, right? It's more detailed. So that's why left side of the brain control right hand, which is right side of the body, right? Right hand is the right side of the body. And that's why your right hand is very good in details, in doing fine motor activities, because it is controlled by your left brain, which is more detail oriented brain. Okay, written and verbal communication, you can communicate verbally and written by written way from your very easily and nicely with your right hand, because it is controlled by the left brain, which having a language center. So you can communicate verbally and written wise from your right hand very easily. Okay, similarly in the right eye, your right eye mainly focuses on what? It's a nearsighted eye. Nearsighted means looking the near objects, going to the details, going into the main near stuff, right? What is there? Because it is controlled by your left brain again. That's why it's nearsighted. It does not, your right eye is not designed, okay, it can see, but it mainly it focuses on the near objects, because it's controlled by the left brain. Your right eye easily track from left to right. So if you are right eye dominant person, for you to read English, from left to right is easy. If you are not right eye dominant, reading English is not that easy, because it produces pressure on the eye. It can easily track from left to right. The right side, it focuses on visual or orders and sequence and details. Your right eye focus more on visuals, sequence and details, because it is controlled by the left brain. And left brain is detail oriented and logical brain. Again, the more funny part, your ear. If you are right ear dominant person, okay, your right ear is focuses on words, language. Let's say you are driving a car and there is new song came in the radio. Okay, what first, because you never heard this song before, so you don't know the rhythm and all those things. What you, if you are right ear dominant, your first focus will go on the lyrics rather than the music, because it is controlled by the language center, the left brain who have language center. So if you are right ear dominant person, your first focus will go on the lyrics of the song. Okay, and then you will notice the rhythm. Facts and details, like right ear focuses on facts and details. Okay, and what is said. How many time it happen, if you are right ear person, normally they do that. So they have friends and they are talking, they are making fun, and they said something, and the person get upset. And the friend, what, I was just kidding, it doesn't mean, I was just making fun, it was just fun. I said, I don't care if you are kidding or what, this is what you said. So they more focus on what words are used. Doesn't matter how has been said, what you said. If you are right ear dominant person, you will more focus on what has been said rather than how has been said. And this is the function, because again it is controlled by your left brain, which is a language center. They more focus on the words. In the same way, it's more focus on the verbal content rather than the body language. Your right ear more focus on the verbal content. Okay, again your left hand having it can do gross motor activities very well. Gross motor, because why? Gross motor means big picture. Like if you are a batsman, okay, cricket, you can make big shots with your left hand. If you are left-handed person, dominant person, you can make big shots. Your left hand is designed to do gross motor activities very well. That's why you notice sometimes when a person, even on the left hand dominant person, they are not that much fast in writing things as a right hand dominant person, because right hand is designed to do fine motor activities. Left hand is designed to do gross motor activities. Why? Because it is controlled by your right brain. Opposite, remember, opposite. So right brain is big picture brain, holistic brain. So that's why our right left hand is controlled by right brain, and it's more designed to do the gross motor activities. Okay, it focuses on non-verbal gestures and body language. Okay, again, left, if you talk about left eye, in the same way, left eye is your far sighted eye. Left eye take information easily from the far, because a big picture, far. Right brain control the left eye, and that's why it's designed to have to take information from far. It's a far sighted eye. It can track from right to left. If you are left eye dominant person, you will have reading difficulty in English. So if you are reading Arabic, you can easily read Arabic, but when it comes to English, you will have reading difficulty because you are left eye dominant. Your eye take information first left, and it is not designed to track from left to right. You will put more pressure on your eye. Okay, it focuses on color, shape, and feelings. Why? Because your right brain, remember we talk about pictures, right brain think in pictures. It focuses, it's there is emotions also involved in right brain person. So right, your left eye also focuses on colors, shapes, and feelings. And also your left ear, how it function, your left ear focuses on emotions. Why? Because it is controlled by your right brain, which is also emotional brain, like we call it emotional brain as well. It focus, your left ear focuses on rhythm. So again, if you are left ear dominant person and you are driving a car and some new song came in on radio, the first focus your ear will pay on the listening is on the rhythm, not on the lyrics. But then of course your right ear will follow, and start, you are making sense of the lyrics, but the first focus will go on the rhythm, and they are more focusing of how things are said. Okay, so let's say again, friends example. Friends are saying something very good, but they said in a different way. Okay, they said some, so and the person goes, left ear dominant person, I don't care what you said, I care how you said, your body language. No, but I was saying this, we were talking this very nice things. I don't care what words you use. What I care, your body language is not okay. So the our left ear will focus more on the body language, how things are said, rather than what things are said, what are the words you use. So this is also very good to know, that if I'm left ear dominant person, I know that I will focus more on the how part, how things are said, not words. So since I know that, now I can use both sides, because I know I will focus on this, so let's say other side as well, and we can develop. But the fun part start here. Okay, is neurological hindrance that we talk about. Okay, this is something really good to understand, that how the stress is affecting now your brain your information processing style. Let's say you are stressed. Let's say this person in the screen is left hemispheric dominant. Okay, is left hemispheric dominant, like he's left brain dominant person, dominant preferred way. Okay, now he's left hemisphere dominant and right hand dominant and right eye dominant, but he is left ear dominant. I will stop here for just to explain. As we already agreed at first, that the fact that left side of the brain control right side of the body, right side of the brain control left side of the body. And we also discuss during stress what happened, your non-dominant part of the brain, your non-dominant side having neurological hindrance, or in other words you could say blockages. Are you with me?
Yes.
Right, I just want to make sure everybody is in the same pace. Right, so now listen. During stress, the non-dominant part is affected. Okay, having neurological hindrance. If my non-dominant brain is controlling some of my dominant sense, here you see this person is left ear dominant, and left side is controlled by which brain? Right brain,
Right.
which is its non-dominant brain. Are you with me? Now during stress, this person having hindrance in right side of the brain, and his right side of the brain is controlling one dominant sense, which is his ear. So ultimately his ear have hindrance as well, because the non-dominant brain is controlling the dominant part. Is it making sense?
Did
Do you
everybody
want
get
me to?
that? Any
Yeah,
questions
so
on that?
again, if you want I can repeat it again, because this, if you understand this trick, it will make sense a lot, how what we which part of our body is affected during stress.
Peter's asking, could you just go over it again?
Yes, sure. So let's take example of this person. Okay, this person is left hemispheric person. Okay, his dominant brain side is left brain, and he is right hand dominant, right eye dominant, and left ear dominant. And we already discussed. So if this person is left hemisphere, during stress, his right side of the brain is affected. Right? We agree that during stress, the other part, non-dominant brain, is affected, having neurological hindrance. So what will happen? His non-dominant brain, which is right side, okay, is controlling the left ear, which is his dominant ear. This is naturally his dominant ear. This is his left ear take information first, and the right ear follow the information. So now what is happening? This person, okay, he is right hand dominant. His right hand is controlled by left brain. All good, because his left hemispheric dominant. In stress, his hand function will not affect because it is controlled by dominant brain, and dominant brain is still working well during stressful situation. He is right eye dominant, and right eye is controlled by left hemisphere, which is also good because left hemisphere, it has no effect on stress because it keeps working the same way. But he is left ear dominant, and left ear is controlled by his non-dominant side of the brain, which will have neurological hindrance during stress. So what will happen for this person when he will get stressed? The information that he prefer to take information from left ear because he is left ear dominant. The information that he will take will have a human risk of error chances. Okay, so here he have neurological hindrance, and that means and he prefer to take information from left ear because left ear is dominant. At that point, he have low human risk of error chance. Why low? Because only one side of his sensory part is affected by his non-dominant brain. So that's why he is having low human risk of error chances, which means he has to focus when he's stressed. Whatever information he's taking, auditory information, the listening information, it might not be correct. It might not correct. Okay, and that's the reason that if I only know that, then only I will be able to improve it, that which a part of my body is affected. Is it making sense?
So that
Now
means,
let's suppose
so that means a person now, because human error, when he is very stressed, this example here, when he is very stressed, because he's already, we know that his left ear is dominant, controlled by the right side of the brain. The right side of the brain has now become hindered, has blockages. So the left ear is going to receive information at a lower rate than normal.
yes,
So there's
exactly.
human error coming in. So that means he might not hear things properly. He might not absorb information adequately because he is under stress.
Yes, that's right. So he's and again, the next part is also very interesting, which is linked with this part as well, because already we know, we call ourselves like we are auditory person. I am auditory, I am visual, I'm kinesthetic, which means that I prefer to take information auditorily. Okay, it's easy for me if I just have on the phone and somebody is teaching me, I can easily make sense. I can easily put audio books in my ear and I can easily make sense. Or maybe I'm driving and I'm listening some lectures and seminars, it's okay, I can easily make sense if I'm auditory person. So that means I prefer to take all information auditory. But just imagine if you are auditory person and you have ear hindrance and you prefer to take information auditorily, then how it will affect your performance? It will even it can, because you prefer to take information auditorily, you can make sense auditorily very easily, and that's how, and even you are blocked during stressful situation. So why this profile is showing you that you need to make sure that you are coping up stress mechanism and you are neuroagile, so that even if when you're neuroagile, it will all work perfectly. Okay, if you have two parts, like say hand is also on the, this person is left hand dominant, then their human risk of error chances reaches to the moderate. If all those three parts are on the same side, on the other side, then he will have high human risk of error chances. Okay, again, we need to know that how our brain design, and this is, and sometimes, and let me tell you one thing very as what Noor was talking at that time, that we can develop both sides and we can use both sides. That's true. One of my friend, she did this test, NeuroAgility test with me, and I have no doubt that she is left brain dominant. She has no doubt that she's left brain dominant. Okay, she did the profile, I was debriefing her profile to her. I did not open the first page that either you are left brain or right brain, because we already know that she's very logical all the time on details and reasons and questions. So me and her, we both did not go through this profile, the first page, left or right. When we come to here, okay, and we notice that her all the dominant senses are on the left side. Okay, sorry, are on the right side of the brain. All dominant senses are on the right side. And she told me, when we were talking about stress, I told her, look, and I noticed this low part is on the high. And I said, wait. And she told me, Kanwal, what? Whenever I'm stressed, my right side of the body is affected. I feel pain on my right side. My eye is paining. My hands are affected. I cannot perform work very well. Even all my right side of the body affected. I said, no, it should not be, because you are left brain dominant and left brain control right side of the body, and you are right things dominant. It should not control. She said, no, no, no. I'm telling you, my right side of the body affected when I'm stressed. At that point of time, I go to the page one and I find out that she's right brain dominant. But because she learned very well, because she was working in a bank for 20-30 years, and she was very analyst, accountant, all this work, she developed so much that she's always going in details and accounts and all those things. And I was thinking she's left brain, she was thinking she's left brain. But when we reach here, when we find out this, then we go to the first page, we find, oh, she's right brain. And she was shocked also, actually, that she's right brain. But here, when it comes to here, that her right side of the body is affecting and all her right things are dominant, that shows that how much she's affected, and how much she have human risk of error chances during a stressful situation.
I think
Doesn't
for
matter, like
people,
she.
people who are machine operators and people who are in the research laboratories and working with tiny, tiny things, this would be so important for them, knowing that when they stressed, if their right hand was going to be at a higher risk for human error when they are affected by stress. It has such huge implications in the work environment, honestly.
Exactly, exactly. So we should know that, again, that to improve that, first we should know which area is affected. If I am working, I know if my right hand is affected, and I have to do let's say students, even for the students, if let's say student hand is affected, he's right brain and right hand dominant. For sure, during a stressful situation, when he has to write the exam, he will not be able to perform well because his hand is affected. It will not do the detail work well. So even if, and you notice that, students, sometime in our student life, if you are this way, when you are stressed, oh, time is clicking, I have to finish my paper, and your hand is like literally cannot perform well because you are stressed, and it affects your hand. So this is also very much important to know what area of your hand, what area is affected during a stressful situation, so that you can improve. Okay. The other part, I will go fast now because again we are running out of time. This is called sensory preferences. Again, as we talk about, either we prefer to take information visually more, auditorily, or kinesthetically. So depending upon what is your mood of learning, some people prefer to learn by performing exercises. Some people prefer to learn by just listening. They don't need this presentation. They will listen and they will understand properly. Some people, they need to see things, the illustration, diagrams, work pictures, patterns, shapes, to make sense. So visual person, they prefer to take information visually first and then process in the brain. Auditorily person take information first with the ear and then process. They don't need to see the visuals. It's not important for them to understand. They have to listen properly. And for kinesthetic people, if you want to work with kinesthetic people, you are working with those kind of people. Even in schools, if students are more kinesthetic, then you have to incorporate more exercises than the theory, okay, or than the diagrams. They have to, they learn by kinesthetically. Now here is something very important. If your eyes are affecting in the previous slide, let's say you are a visual person, and during stress your eye is on the different side, which is affected side, then you will, during stress, you will not perform visual information perfectly, and your preferred mode of taking information in is visual. So it's linked, if your eyes are affected, if your eyes on the same side of your dominant brain, which is controlled by your non-dominant side, then, and it's your preferred mode of learning, your preferred mode of taking information in, then how much you will have, if you will increase the human risk of error chances more if you are not neuroagile person. Okay, so again you need
So
to.
pertinent again. I mean, even the coaches on the call, Marilla, Pumulelo, and one or two other people here that are coaches. Even in this, when your client is coming to you and your client is very stressed, and obviously many of the clients come to a coach when that they are in a position of, life choice misdirection or exacerbated or confusion. They don't know what to do. They're coming to a coach. They need help. The chances are great that they will be stressed. Not all people who go to coaches are stressed, but the chances are quite great that that person would be stressed. And how wonderful if you knew your clients' levels of brain optimization or how they work, because what you'd normally be speaking to them, they would not even be absorbing as well. So
Exactly.
it's
You should know
so
that you
huge.
need to bring their state on a resourceful state. When you are speaking with them, they have to be in a resourceful state so they can easily process the information. And also, because if you know all those things, you can help them in developing their neuro agility, so that even during stressful situation at work or wherever, they can still able to perform well their
MZ,
information in, and
uh,
reduce human.
MZ is asking a question: how do you remediate and address the stress?
Sorry, come again.
How do you remediate and how do you address the stress? How do you reduce the impact to the sensory organ? And I think you're going into the optimizers now, isn't it? That would address that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This is the driver that we are talking about. We'll go to that. Okay, so this is one part. And as we talk about that, depend if your any preferred way, this is preferred mode of learning, preferred sensory mode of learning. If it is impacted like in the previous slide, if your hands are impacted during stress, if your ear is impacted, you are left ear dominant and you are left brain dominant and your left ear controlled by, then you prefer to take information from your ear and it's impacted, so it can impact your way of performing work. So that's also we need to be mindful of. Okay, and the other one is in natural intelligence preferences. We all are unique in some way, we all know that, right? We have, everybody have some uniqueness. And what Noor was talking at that time, that Einstein, he was having logical intelligence, he was having creative intelligence all together. So we are having some intelligence which will excel. Again, I said I am more analyst and strategist, but I have interpersonal intelligence, which is connecting with the people, talk with the people and connecting with the people, and that helped me in counseling work. Because if you have interpersonal intelligence, you can do counseling work very well, you can connect with people. So depending, if you are missing somewhere and let's say you have that intelligence, it will come together and it will help you. So we are intelligent. Let me pass through this so we can just show you how much, what are the ways. Not previously we were thinking, only IQ level, that if you have a high IQ, you are intelligent. And IQ include your logical, mathematical and linguistic and spatial intelligence only. But actually now science also recognize that there are other intelligence also people are having. Okay, there are so many other intelligence that we are having but we don't know. But if we know our, this is what your natural intelligence are. If you know your natural intelligence, that does not mean that you have skills, but if you know what I am naturally intelligent and you develop skills, you will be naturally performing those actions, and people will tell you, oh, this person is naturally born intelligent. Have you heard this sentences?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
That person, he is naturally born intelligent, because that person, he utilizes natural intelligence and he develops skills on that. So all of us are naturally intelligent at something, but we don't know. Even the students, they suffer. Okay, which subject should I choose? Which topic? Which college should I go? What area should I go and further my studies? They don't know their natural intelligence. If they know their natural intelligence and they choose that subject, they pick up that area of the to proceed the further to develop their skills. They will be like going, because it's natural intelligence naturally there, and they develop their skills. So these are the natural intelligence we call logical, mathematical, like more scientific, more mathematical, linguistic intelligent, like Opera. She is very linguistic intelligent person. Special and visual intelligent people, that who can see things before it happens. Who can construct stuff in the eyes before it happens. It's intelligence level as well.
I'm thinking about one
Physical
of the. I'm thinking about one of the. Well, he's not. I don't think he's playing. I don't know. MZ watches cricket. Would he be able to correct me? But Alan Donald, which is about a decade ago, was known as one of the fastest spin bowlers of the cricket world, and it was amazing because he was dyslexic. He was actually a dyslexic person. His traditional IQ was so low, yet he was the fastest spin bowler of international cricket. And it turned out that he just had this natural kinesthetic intelligence, which
Yes.
somehow he was fortunate enough to have gotten cricket coaching or his sports teachers noticed, and then he got developed into that. MZ's got his hand up. MZ, would you like to speak? Just unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think Atiyya, that's a very good example that you've given from a sporting perspective. And, and I just want to give another example since the topic of cricket's out. So, like you said, he was very talented in bowling and fast bowling, and although he had this dyslexic impediment, so he was very good at bowling. But a few years later, in one of the World Cup, Cricket World Cup semi-finals, when they were batting and they were at the crease, okay, if you look at what had happened in such a situation, they made such a blunder that they didn't know how to run, and both players got stumped out at the same time. So that just shows how, while you're strong on the one hand, and where you're even compensating for your weakness, certain situational contexts when there's stress can impact your judgment and your decision, causing, okay, in this case, they actually lost the semifinals. There's a very good example that you've raised.
Thank you so much, MZ, for that. I had even forgotten about that. So yet again, MZ reinforces the thing that the real world implications for understanding this is so huge. I mean, even a sports coach would need to know that. And I was chuckling to myself earlier on, Kanwal, when you spoke about, the right ear dominant person focuses on what you said, and then the left ear dominance focuses on how you said. And I just pictured all those marital fights that people have, like, but you said that. And what, but you didn't mean it that way. And I saw how you said it. And even in this, it's like when people are getting married, they should actually have neuroagility testing to understand each other before getting into that marriage, or at least having your first 6 months. I think you should have a sign off before we go on honeymoon. You need to make sure you did your neuroagility test.
You know each other very well. And this happened when my husband, he's left ear dominant. I am right ear dominant. I focus on more words and what he's saying. I don't care how he's saying, but he's focused. Even I'm saying a very nice thing, but he's saying, the way you said, it's not acceptable. But I am saying this, I'm just saying, I'm caring for you. Doesn't matter what you said, the way, your way.
So hugely important. Imagine, Alhamdulillah, I really have to express gratitude to the Almighty for allowing us to learn these things. It's never too late, because it's just wonderful to develop ourselves into the best human so that we can become the best person of good character, righteousness, and a better worshiper. Because ultimately, this is what human development is about.
True, very true. So so these are all sensory intelligence. You find some people, they open the room, this you cook this thing, they will exactly tell you. Even they can tell you how much masala you have put, how much salt you have put, by just sensing, because they have very high sensory intelligence. They can tell you the texture, they can tell you the thing, colors and stuff very easily, because they have very developed high sensory intelligence. They have intelligence. If they become skillful in that, so if they can become very good chef, they can become very good art director, creative directors, because they use all this interior decorator, who can use all those textures, colors, arrangement. They have senses. They are very high sensory intelligence. Interpersonal people.
Speaking about sensory, sorry to cut you off, MZ asked a question earlier. How is the sensory related to what gets stored in the memory, muscle memory and brain memory?
Okay, this of course, this is installed in the memory as well, the things, but you can easily go down into the deep details. So you can easily measure things. You are very highly senses. Even your senses is, even when we talk about intuition also, these are something that is coming naturally. Of course, there are something in the memory, but everybody have that memory. Everybody are installed, but not everybody are so much good in catching those memories, or catching those feeling those stuff. Sensory intelligent people, they are very good in having all those things. Even the intuition level, their intuition, they sense energies. They come, what, I don't feel like there's something in here. They will feel the energy, because they are very heightened sense. So here comes intuition part. Some people have very developed intuition, they are very developed in senses plus intuition. They can sense the energies also, what energies you are sending me, what energies I am sending you. Even the other area, like the visual senses, the kinesthetic senses, the feeling senses, they can feel things very easily. Again, it's in there in the memory. It's already, we learned, like the smell of biryani, for example. If you enter inside and the biryani is cooking, but they will tell you, which part of the biryani is right now. It's on the dum, or it's still there is time required, based on the smell, based on the senses. So this is how naturally they are intelligent at in doing this. Again, they are naturally in that, but if they develop, they can do so many things with that. Interpersonal people, as I talk about, interpersonal as social intelligence. They are very good in connecting with people. Like, they make connection like that. And this is intelligence of a person. It's an intelligent level. You find some people who are you just sit with them and you are connected. You just talk on phone, you never see them, just talk on the phone and you are connected. So this is also an intelligence. Also, creativity is an intelligence. Naturalistic, some people, they love nature, they put the plants and stuff, they spend their time in their hobbies, in the planting things. This is naturalistic. This is also intelligent. If they go and learn botany and learn about plants and nature and stuff, they will be very good at that. They develop their skills. Same way, musical intelligence and spiritual intelligence. Now, most of the time, coaches, I have done so much time this assessment with the coaches. They are only high spiritual intelligence, because spiritual intelligence, when you are connecting with the spirits, when you have higher purpose, you are going towards higher purpose, you are working like helping people, and you are making connection with the spirit. So this is also an intelligence. But we only focus, normally we are programmed to focus logical, mathematics, scientific, linguistic, and spatial intelligence, IQ level. But these are the intelligence. If we know our kids are good in some of this intelligence, and we help them to develop those intelligence, you will find out they will be like, they can perform so many good things that maybe they will not perform in a logical way, or become a scientist or doctor or engineer. So they can do other work much better, as per, because this is natural intelligence and they develop in that. So it is also very much important how you are smart, not how smart are you, how you are smart. So you should know that how you are smart, not how smart are you. So this is something also that it's important. I believe that if you know that, you could just go and develop yourself in that area, and you see where you reach. Okay, so these are the seven brain designing that we discussed. Now let's go fast and for the six drivers that we were talking about.
In fact,
And it's easy.
Warren Buffett, which is one of the most wealthiest men in the world, he said that he learned this very early on in life, that if you develop the stuff that you're naturally intelligent in, you'll outperform and you'll outdo and you'll be above anybody in that particular field. Versus traditional schooling, which when you get a report, the parents will see, or the child sees, okay, I got an A in math and I got a C in biology, or I got an A in English and I got a D in math. And so what happens? The focus on traditional schooling is, well, you need to raise that D, boy, because you're doing so well in this and you're doing so poorly in that. So now they start giving effort to the stuff that the child was not naturally intelligent in, and the natural intelligence kind of stagnates. Whereas Warren Buffett, obviously it worked for him, being the wealthiest man in the world almost, said, leave that what you are not so great on, focus on the stuff that you're naturally good at, and be the absolute best you can be in that. Of course, it does not mean you ignore the other levels. You develop it, but focus more on what your natural intelligence is. And that's amazing if we could do that for our kids. And if we could actually learn that for ourselves, even if you pass the age of 30 or whatever, if you know what is your natural intelligence and you start developing that, you will reach far greater heights than you could have by not knowing about it.
And that's what you say. I think you know that, if this person is really working hard. But if you work on something you love, that will develop the love. It's, specifically, if you
Yeah.
are naturally intelligent something. And that's how we are doing hobbies, which we are naturally intelligent. We say, oh, it's my hobby, I'm doing it on the sideways. But this is why you are doing it, because you have natural talent of it, you have natural
it,
love of
it
it.
gives a new meaning to the word. It gives a new meaning to this, to the saying work smart. A really new spin on the work smart now.
Exactly. And that's how, if you develop these hobbies, that you are actually on your leisure time, you are doing something that that give you pleasure. Actually, this is your intelligence. So if you develop the skills on that area, you see that you will work on that thing. You make that your career, and you will not work a single day, because you are doing your hobby all the time.
And
So
you're
it is not
enjoying it.
work.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why, when you love what you do, you don't work a single day. And this is what happened with me. Like, sometimes my husband sometimes looking at me, you work so hard, it's too much, like how your brain is performing, how much you are working. Now today, even it's 3 a.m. till 12, I was in a training, and now I started this, and after that I have a session. But I don't feel like less in energy, because this is what I love. So this is how it is different, that when you love what you do, you don't feel like that you are working. Okay, so let's take the six brain optimizing drivers. On the sixth driver that we say, if we develop these areas, we can improve our neuroagility. Okay, which are your brain fitness. When we talk about brain fitness, there are five other areas in the brain fitness: your neurotransmitter release, your brain exercises, they are called brain yogas exercise. There are so many five steps there, which if you improve, you can improve your brain fitness. Ultimately you improve your brain neuroagility. A stress coping mechanism, you should know your stress coping mechanism, like how you have to, if you are stressed, how you can cope your stress. As much as you start coping your stress, then you will improve your neuroagility. You will reduce your chances of error. You will reduce your chances of that you don't want to do. And a stress coping mechanism, of course, like it's different for different. Some people do breathing, some people go for meditation, but there is also something called attitude there, number 5. Okay, even if you're trying to do meditation and yoga and all those, of course it reduces the stress, but your attitude has to be changed, which again, as we talk about in our trainings normally in conditioning part, what are your belief system, what are your when you are kids, you are just developing some, having some belief. Let's say you are having a belief that money is hard earned. Okay, and you are struggling in your life for money, and you know that this is very young age, your mother or your father or maybe somebody, some person, authoritative person, they say, money are not growing on the tree, it's hard earned, so you have to take care of your money, and that belief will make you the whole life suffering for struggling for the money. So sometimes to change the attitude, okay, that money is, I'm working so hard, I'm stressed, I'm not getting enough money, this is natural stress, right? Although I'm working day and night for the money, it's not coming, it's not easy. So here we have to go back and check the belief system as well, to change the attitude ultimately. So if we are able to change that belief that money is hard earned, money is not growing on the tree, you will find it, you will even not do much harder work and money will come. So this is something very beautiful. Like when we are doing coaching, we of course we do the brain fitness and we know where is the scale, and then we will go in the conditioning part, where the belief system is working. Okay, what actually they are performing some actions, they are stressed out, what is the root cause of the problem, from where they got that belief. Okay, and once we catch that belief, we can change that belief, we can remove the negative emotions from there, and then we will help them to actually improve attitude. And Atiyah, you will agree, like how you see in the last training, how the attitude of a person will got changed in 10 days. You
Yep,
see,
yep.
you remember you asked me, like from the first day she was having so much stress, negative emotions and stuff there, and the last day totally different person. Change attitude from, because we work on the conditioning. So this is so beautifully you can work on your attitude. Of course you need some guidance, you need some coaching on that, and you need to find out with the help of some good coach that, okay, how, what is that there in the belief system that is working, that bring that attitude in my life. Sleep pattern is very important. Like you have to take good sleep, 8 hours sleep. As we know that we have to take 8 hours sleeps, but 8 hours sleep should be in a way that most of your first 3 or 4 hours should be before 12. Okay, then it counts 1 hour, like the real 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours should be before 12. So it means that you have to sleep in between 9:30 to 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. at night. Then you will complete the sleep cycles, which is normally the time that we start dreaming, and there are different levels of sleep. You have to sleep early before 12 o'clock. In the same way, your movement, your body movement, your physical exercise is important to improve neuroagility. And of course your food, healthy food. So as much as you work on these 6 areas, your brain performance will improve automatically. No matter how you have high risk of human error chances, you have low or medium, but if you work on these areas, in which stress and attitude, of course all other areas are important, but if you know how to coping of the stress, which also link with attitude. If your attitude of life is good, then ultimately you will start coping of the stress. Okay, let's say your attitude is positive, and also it's not easy to make positive attitude in all the scenarios, I understand that. But again, you need to go back to conditioning part to see what is there in my conditioning, in my programming, when I'm programmed, when I was growing up from the parents and other environment, what is there in my programming that bring this attitude in my life here, and even that bring the circumstances around me. So this is all again very deep talk, and we can, if we work literally on these 6 areas, we can improve the natural function of our brain. So I hope it helps you. although it took long time, take long time, but because this is
I
the
think,
topic like.
we underestimate, and this is the thing. I would speak from a personal opinion, my personal self. When I look at different articles that tell me, stress, sleep, your movement, your attitude, your food plays such a great role in your brain development, I kind of took it for granted. But when I actually did the test with you, and I saw in a diagnostic and visual way how much my brain agility was affected when I actually was assessed about the hours of sleep I regularly had, the type of food I was eating. And I mean, it was a very simple test. It took about an hour, I think, to do the entire test. But when I did that and it actually assessed me, I realized, oh my goodness, we're living in a rat race and we're so used to our habits, and we think we're eating healthy, and we think we're sleeping enough, or we think we have the correct attitude, we're handling our stress. But when I really saw the numbers and the percentages and its reflection, a true reflection, a diagnostic reflection on where I was standing, I had to really sit back and think to myself, you know what? If I want to preserve my brain health past mid 40s going up into my later years, if I want to prevent Alzheimer's, I want to prevent dementia, I want to prevent memory loss, then I have got to do something now that's going to preserve and what I have, and also develop what I've lost through stress or poor eating or poor sleeping, and poor neurochemically or neural pathways, poor neural pathways of managing controversy or provocation in my life, or stressful triggers that affect me. We have these habits of reacting.
Also, it is also, as I said, that Dr. Andre, he, like, I have been trained by him directly, and he has given us again scientific ways to improve all those 6 areas. Like, when we talk about brain fitness, what kind of exercise, brain exercise you can use. So in the assessment itself, they check, like, do like this.
Oh
So
yeah,
if you are
that
able to
was
do
that
this
was
easily,
very interesting. That was very interesting. Just do it slowly, Kanwal, for the people on the call, because I thought I
okay,
was good at it, but after a few times I couldn't do it. I was like, oh my goodness, this is not so difficult, but I couldn't do it. So do it slowly.
yeah.
Let's just do this for the people on the call. They've waited
So
so
this is
long.
one kind of exercise that you can, you can integrate both sides of the brain. So you do this, and you take the left hand and put on the right ear, and the
Left hand, right
right
ear.
hand on your nose. Okay, on the nose, and then you come back and then take the left hand on the nose and the right ear on the left ear,
Left hand,
right
right ear.
hand on the left
And then
ear,
keep doing it for a few times. And
and
you
then keep doing it. So if you can easily keep doing it, it means this is a one brain exercise that you can do to integrate both sides of the brain, which increase the neurotransmitter, because now both sides of your brain is working. Remember, left hand operated by right brain, right hand operated by left. Now what I'm doing, I'm putting it here, and left hand I'm putting it on the right side. So what I'm doing, I'm integrating both functions of the brain. Here, then I could go there. I took my right hand and put on my left side, which is controlled by my left brain. So this is very good brain exercise as well.
and
And
then
there
keep
are so
on
many
doing
other
it.
exercises.
Yeah, it's such simple things for your child, for an aged parent. I actually shared two books here onto the chat. One was for brain exercise, and the other one was for overall brain development for children. But as I said in the chat as well, don't let it only be that something you can apply for your child. Do it for yourself, and even for the parent who's aged, because that is really excellent. And to be humorous, those of you who grew up with an Indian teacher, or a Islamic teacher that used to make the form of punishment to be holding both sides of the ears and go up and
Oh,
down.
good.
You know what?
Yeah.
Children used to hate that. Putting There used to be a certain name for it. I can't remember it now, but the teacher used to punish a student by making them hold inside of the ear with the opposite hand and go up and down. And it used to be so painful because you literally had to do your lunges while you did that. But
Yeah.
now you should actually be going back in your mind and thanking that teacher because he was developing your neuro agility. He was making you
Exactly.
smarter.
Yeah, exactly. So as I think MZ said, the juggling, yes, juggling is very good exercise to integrate both sides of the brain to develop neuro. So these are the brain exercises that you can, and there are so many other brain exercises that you can do, and you can, you improve your neuro agility with the brain fitness with these exercises, because we are integrating both sides of the brain. We are working together on the both sides, so that improve also brain fitness.
Kanwal, thank you
But
so much. I'm so mindful of how much of time you gave us, and I know you're still going into another training, which you're probably late on. And I want to thank all the participants for staying on. So many of you stayed on. The majority stayed on, even though it was past their time. The others asked me privately for the replay because they had to go. Can you believe we spent 2 hours learning about brain optimization and brain health? And I hope that this information, this time that you spent with Coach Middle East, it's going to be so beneficial for you. If you are in South Africa, I know you can get hold of Dr. Vermeulen on the website, the office is there. If you are in the UAE, definitely contact Mind Village for the NeuroAgility test. Kanwal does an absolutely wonderful debriefing, because it's not enough just to get the test. It's important to know how the real world application of what your scores mean and how you can
yeah, you will
improve
get
that.
29 pages report. So what I gave you a brief summary.
Yeah,
Actually, you will get 29 pages report after doing the assessment. And if you want that assessment also, I like, this assessment costs $175. Okay. So from the website, if you want to go, as a corporate partner, I am we have a discount, so we can give you at $120. So even if you are in South Africa and you want to avail the discount, it's like we have an agreement with Dr. Andres. So even you want to have some discounts, you can ask me
well,
because it's
that's
online.
wonderful.
You
That's
can do that.
wonderful for that. Any last questions, guys? Yes, MZ said getting kids to play tennis. Just his bias, because I know his hobby is tennis. Any last questions? Well, thank you so much, Kanwal. We really, really enjoyed. I really enjoyed this session. Peter says email. Kanwal, can you share your email there, please? Hajra, being an ex-principal, Hajra, how do you find this kind of information? Do you think you would have loved to know this in your days of being a principal? How would this have changed the way you approached education?
Hi, everybody.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, hi.
With all the sessions that I've had with you from May, I think I would have handled so many things in such different ways. I'm thoroughly enjoying all these sessions. I wish that while I was in the system, I had all these tools in place.
Alhamdulillah. I find it such an honor and privilege that you join us almost every week, Hajra. And I'm hoping that inshallah you are going to be disseminating this information to teachers there, and even though you may be out of the system, you're never really out of it. You can still
Yes,
in,
contribute.
you can still contribute and teach others and do your
Yes,
own workshops
yes,
and stuff like that. And I'd love
yeah.
to do something like that with you if you're ready to do that with teachers. I don't mind assisting you with that, because I think more and more educators need these types of things to grow
And
our new
actually, we have,
generation better.
again, talking about the schools and students, we have developed a full program of schools for the schools for
Yeah,
teaching the teachers, actually
so important.
training the teachers with the NeuroAgility, and to find out their in the classroom which kind how mostly students are arranged, and we have a way to develop the full, give a big picture to the teacher that okay, you have in your class these people, they are more having this blockage here, these students are there, so we can develop for full platform for each class to help them to proceed in a way, and even the way of teaching. Let's say, as I talk, kinesthetic person, auditory person, visual person, so there is a way of even presenting your presentation in a way that all modalities are engaged,
Just
either you are visual, kinesthetic, and auditory. So we
especially
have,
now,
there is a way,
especially now in
yeah,
the online learning environment, a lot of children around the world are now having to be forced to learn online, and it takes them out of a
exactly.
classroom and even further away from their preferred learning style. And it can be very, very emotionally frustrating for children when they want to learn. They don't even know what their learning style is, because they're not exposed to that. Parents don't know. Teachers may not have ever done any type of testing with them. And then that child is just being uh, left to his own devices, literally and figuratively, because he's working on devices. And Online learning would definitely require this type of understanding so that they could improve the level of learning reception for a student today. And it doesn't only mean for the student, it means even for you, because if you're in an environment of whether you're in sales, whether you're in pharmaceutical or whatever industry you may be in, chances are your company is going to be doing professional development online, and chances are that all your training is going to happen online. Even a person learning how to operate a cash register today, if there's a new cash register coming out and they need to train that cashier how to work on a cash register, they do it as an online sales training, virtual training. And many times the virtual trainer or the program developers for these programs do not take into consideration that the learning style of those people who are going to be absorbing that information, that they've uh, disseminated the information in all three modalities. It's just amazing. Amjad is in the banking industry, and I can just I know he'd also appreciate that, because in the banking industry, there's so much of training that's happening constantly, is upgrading constantly. Things are moving at such an advanced rate to keep up. In fact, this afternoon, I've got a person from the digital industry speaking on Channel Islam at 5 p.m. Dubai time, 3 p.m. South Africa, and he's speaking about digital immunity, because that has far-reaching implications from schools to people's personal accounts. And you wonder why so many people's Facebook accounts and social media accounts are being hacked recently. And then I said, well, think about it. It's a new form of robbery. Before, you had a shop open and somebody wanted to rob your store, they'd come in, rob you for your information, your books, your stock, or your cash. Now, how else would they rob you? How else would they outcompete you? They're going to outcompete you digitally. They're going to hack your customer database, or they're going to hack your institute, you know? So being even digitally immune is so important. But how would you get that information? You get that information through virtual training. And how would you receive that? Through your learning style. If you don't know it, you can't really advance it. So it just blows my
And it's
mind.
also, yeah, it's very important for the kids also. So kids, like, we have to, like, make sure that we have to know our kids when they are growing, what are their natural way of learning, how they prefer to learn, so that we can help them to utilize the same thing. And also, talking about the assessment, we have kids assessment starting from age 10. So like from age 10 till the adult, so we have different three types of assessment, like age 10 to age 17, then no, age 10 to age 15, then 15 to 17, and then 18 plus, which is adult. So there is student performer, student assessment, there is kids assessment, and there is adult assessment, which is all having 29 pages report to get full knowing. I just give you a like, short introduction, which is long actually.
Yes. Thank you, Kanwal. Jazakallah
Thank
khairan.
you so much.
Any last words
Thank
from
you.
you before we close off?
I think so. There are so many words I already spoke, but I just want to thank you, Atiyya, for inviting me there, and all. And that this is my passion also. To any way I can help people, I can bring awareness. This give me energy. So thank you so much, everyone, as well, like, to listen to me, and I hope you have get some information and some good insights about the thing. And thank you, Atiyya, also for inviting me. So
Most
thank you so
welcome.
much.
Jazakallah khairan. We have to thank you. We are full of gratitude for you attending, for you presenting to us, and for you sharing all this time at the risk of losing time for your personal trainings. We won't keep you any further and our guests on call, because I do understand and appreciate you've been with us for such a long time. Jazakallah khairan. See you guys next week for another awesome session on Coach Middle East, where we bring you our next expert. And if you want me to send you out the broadcast, if you don't get it as yet, please find my WhatsApp number on the website. Your replays for this session and every other session is available on the website. And over the last few, I've been putting them on YouTube as well. So this session would be on YouTube within 2 days. So if you want to come back to watching the replay, or if you want to recommend and suggest this for somebody else in your family or friend circle to watch it, please do. And so we spread the light and spread the knowledge. Take care, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ma assalama.